I'll call regular city council meeting Monday, June 12th, 2017 to order. Clerk, call roll, please. Alderman Putoff.
Here.
Ferrari. Here. Waldorf. Here. Lukosius. Here. Radke.
Here.
Sapienza. Payton.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Mayor Harrell. Here. Pledge of allegiance. Okay, we have Park Board Chairman Ray Zabrowski and the new Recreation Director Seth Brannon. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for having us tonight. I'm here to introduce our new Recreation Director, Seth Brannon. How's it going? Seth began May 22nd, and he really hit a barrage all at once with different activities going on, and he really hit the ground running. A lot of follow-up phone calls, getting equipment, buying new softballs, T-shirts, so on and so on. So he's doing a great job. We're very happy with him so far, and we always will be. He'll talk about our program shortly here. We started 6 programs today at Parkside School, McKinley Park, Centennial Park, and Washington Park. And the conclusion of the week, we have Movie in the Park, which is Secret Life of Pets. That's at Centennial Park. And Touch a Truck, that's Saturday from noon until 3 o'clock. We have some new trucks coming in this year, bigger, better trucks. And Life Flight will land at approximately 1 o'clock in Centennial Park, like the previous 2 years, weather permitting. So this is Seth Brannon right here. Take it over, Seth.
Thank you, Ray. Good to be here tonight. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. You know, when I was first approached about this job, I heard about it through the grapevine here in town, and I said, you know, I think that's a pretty good job to apply for. I've always loved working with kids. I went to school at Western to be a physical education teacher. I like seeing people active. Graduated from there in 2011. Worked for 2 years in Taylorville, which is my hometown. Taught high school level there and also coached the golf team while I was there. And then got married to my beautiful bride and moved up here about 2 years ago. Currently, I'm the AD, PE, and health teacher over at Waltham. Really settled in well over there. It's nice to see those programs starting to build. I got a great group of kids there, and I love transferring over here into Peru, meeting new faces, and just seeing all these other new kids and getting to meet a lot of new people. So far, like Ray said, we've been hitting the ground running. We had 28 camps this year, 6 of which got started this week. Arts and crafts and tennis is kind of what will be run most of the summer. We had 33 kids show up for tennis today, which I thought was phenomenal for 2 classes. There's a beginner class and an intermediate. And then arts and crafts, people kind of come and go throughout the morning. There was roughly 25 people there. We had baseball camp, which Kevin Keating is running. There were 30 kids that showed up there this morning. Cheer, we had 29, and softball, we had 34. So got off to a great start today. We had sign-ups for our pre-registration camps on June 7th. We had 18 camps that required pre-sign-up, just because traditionally those are camps that fill up really quick. There may be, extra supplies that need to be ordered due to the type of camp that those are. That's why they have pre-registration. Registration went great. I had a couple of helpers with me. I had a board member. Bill Steve was with me, and then I had a couple instructors. And then Cedar Creek Ranch came over and helped out too because they're running a camp over there. Kids are super excited about all those. I think I had, probably 75% of my sign-ups there by 9 o'clock that morning, which was the start time. We ended up having 4 lines going. People went through the lines fairly quickly. I think we got most people in and out of there in 15 minutes, so everything ran really smooth. That day we had about 400 sign-ups, 87 of which were strictly for T-ball, and the other ones were for camps. I think pretty much every camp that had a pre-registration was completely filled, and we even had alternates listed in case somebody dropped out or if we could somehow finagle a few more people in there. So things are going great as we're starting off here. As Ray said, we got a couple of big events coming up this weekend. Hope to see a lot of kids there and a lot more smiling faces. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, before we go, any questions?
Are you going to mention that we have a board vacancy? So if anybody knows anybody that is interested in being on the rec board, we have a vacancy.
A member, Larry Whitey, because of work, he had to cut back and walk away from the park board. Between work, he's going to be going back to school this fall. So the park board, there just won't be enough time in his life for what he has going on right now. To Russ? You know Russ Schmidt? You will. Okay. Right. Okay, great.
Larry was probably on the park board for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah, about 5 or 6 years, I believe.
so maybe we send him a letter thanking him for his service, hopefully.
Yeah, he did a great job with us. Really did. And we're still working on the July 3rd fireworks. That's going very smoothly. Just waiting for the Peru Mall to send me their timeline of events, and I will forward that to the News Tribune and the radio stations. I emailed Dave today. Dave Bartley. There you are.
Yeah, we'll get them, we got them online with the phone, that was the first thing, and we can coordinate something on an email address. We're just getting ready to overhaul our email, so.
They will send you their banner ads.
Yeah, we're great with that. As soon as I know what's going on, I'll get everything linked up.
Yeah, we're okay on our side, just waiting for all their vendors and food vendors and things like that.
When I see it, I'll get it linked up.
Well, we're making progress, we're almost there, just waiting for a few things. Okay.
White Sox. But to be fair, I'm not a huge baseball person. I grew up playing golf and basketball were my two big things.
I'm sure you can help Alderman ask the town there with this.
I used to give lessons.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
There's no public comment. Do we have a motion to receive the minutes, place on file?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Do I have a motion to receive the financial reports, placed on file?
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, I just want to point out the sales tax report, and if you see the sales tax through February is $1,439,405, and last year at this time was $1,502,540. So you're seeing that down by a slight percentage, but I think what's going to be expected is you're seeing in the U.S. economy and all the figures that I see is that you're going to probably get about a 2% decrease in sales tax from what you did last year. That's what the predictions are from the economy. With things going on onto the web, you're probably seeing a lower car dealership was at an all-time high last year, so typically you're going to see a lower rate. And we're not too, because of the amount of retail we have in the city of Peru and the diversity that we have, we're not real much different from the national trends. So you're going to see that little probably dip in that, just to be prepared for that. And remember, last year was all-time high with 10,346,000. So hope for the best, but always prepared for a little downturn of the cycle.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Do I have a motion to receive the activity reports and place on file?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Move on to committee, Finance Safety Services, Chairman Putoff.
Yes, Your Honor, first thing on the agenda for finance is disbursements, total disbursements for June 14, 2017, $1,140,813.19. I move this report be received, placed on file, and the bills paid in the usual manner.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the disbursements, placed on file, and the bills paid in the usual manner. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke. Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Motion approved.
Alderman Ferrari. Yeah, I'd just like to say, and I've said this before, that how well our departments go. Thursday night, we had multiple accidents, and if anybody went to the police station that night and saw them dispatchers working, and saw the police department, and saw the firemen, and everybody that was involved, I want to say thank you, and what a great job you did.
Yeah, that was, how far apart were the accidents? A minute?
4 minutes. It was, like 3 and 7 minutes, wasn't it?
Okay, we'll move on to public services. Chairman Waldorf.
Yes, sir, thank you. Alderman Lukosius, please.
Yes, tonight I'd like to make a motion to purchase a 15 kV capacitor bank, 1800 kVAR for Water Street from HD Power Solutions in the amount of $7,297.27.
Second.
Jeff, you want to give us a,
Yeah, basically that bank is just to the east of the main sub down there, and it burned up. We had a fire there, so it has to be replaced.
Will we have do we have a backup in stock?
It's rerouted right now through it. We don't. We need to get this ordered.
So this will be the new one that'll go in and we'll use the old one as a backup?
No, we won't have anything. I mean, we won't have anything right now. We can reroute them back and forth, so we're okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to purchase the capacitor bank. Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? We'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Ferrari. Aye. Waldorf. Aye. Lukosius. Radke. Aye. Sapienza. Payton. Aye. Ballard. Aye.
Motion approved.
Alderman Ballard, please.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute Ameren Electric Service Agreement to LP High School West Campus Building.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize the mayor to execute an Ameren Electric Service Agreement to LP High School. That was Alderman Ballard, and who was the second? Alderman. Okay, any discussion? What that is, as everybody knows, is that with the remodeling of LP High School, their main campus on the west of Charter Street was split electrically, half being, or a portion of it being Peru and a portion of it being Ameren. With the remodel, LP High School has asked for Peru to service the 100% of the power. We've had negotiations with Ameren. Ameren has sold their portion of the load on a one-time sale, and now the city of Peru will be serving LP High School, the whole west campus. Charter Street will be the break. Ameren will still have everything east of Charter Street. So that's what that is. And have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
aye.
Ferrari. Aye. Waldorf. Aye. Lukosius. Radke. Aye. Sapienza. Payton. Aye. Ballard. Aye. Alderman Sapienza, please.
Motion approved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Your Honor, I have a report from Ray Zabrowski from the Recreation Board. Starting tomorrow and Wednesday evenings, June 13th and 14th, Acts Church of LaSalle, under the direction of Pastor Cameron Graper, will once again begin some volunteer projects. They are as follows. Paint the swing sets at Centennial and Rotary Parks, restain all picnic tables in all parks, repaint the white wall at the Peru City Cemetery, stain the fishing docks at the east side of Baker Lake. Ray got the go-ahead from Chief King several weeks ago. This group in the past has painted swing sets in our parks last year for their Hope Week and did a great job, and they are an absolute asset to the city of Peru. They do
good work and projects that are tough for the city to get to, and we're very thankful. So I wanted to get that out to the public and to the press, and if you see them working, give them a thumbs up.
Your Honor, while we're on parks, I noticed that the parks in LaSalle had a problem with dogs recently. We've got our signs out and everything for dogs in the park. I know we've got our own dog parks. Can you comment on our parks and dogs?
Yeah, we fortunately do not have a big problem. Occasionally, someone will go into the park, says they didn't see the sign or that sort of thing. But we did make sure that every park has the no dogs signs are properly posted, obviously, other than Wiggly Field, our dog park up at Veterans Park. So that's where dog owners need to go. It's a beautiful facility up there, actually, for them. So we've got the signs in all the parks.
Other than the
Wiggly Field, correct.
Parks going for the dogs. Thank you.
Chief King, do you have something?
Yeah, I had one thing. Ray came to me wanting, he had a citizen wanting a porta potty at 28th Street Park. I told him I need to go further aboard. It's their parks. If you want to put one in there, I don't have a problem with it. But I just want to give everybody a heads up. There's going to be a porta potty going in at 28th Street Park. I'm just leaving it at what I said.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, that's all that I ask in public services.
Okay, report city attorney, ordinances, resolutions.
An ordinance authorizing an option sales agreement for the property located at 1841 May Road, Peru, Illinois. As you recall, this is the original Holiday Inn property, and most recently, before it was raised, the King's Inn property. This city, as you know, through judicial proceedings, now owns that property. City Council has determined as advisable in the best interest of the city that the property be developed compatible with surrounding uses and in a manner approved by the City Council. Property is presently vacant as a continuing expense of the city to maintain, derives no revenue, is not useful to or profitable to the city. Contains approximately 3.81 acres. The development of the subject property would increase the city's property tax base, city sale tax base, possibly the city hotel, motel tax base, employment, and the commercial attractiveness of the city, and in particularly the area. National developer Cantrell Morgan, through its subsidiary, Sidlet Investments, Florida Limited Liability Company, as a potential user of the property. Developer desires assurances from the city will convey the property to the developer at its S&E if the developer attracts a user consistent with the goals and objectives of the city for the development of the property. They entered into an option to purchase sales agreement by and between the city and the developer as a matter pertaining to the government affairs of the city as proper public purposes, best interest, health, safety, welfare, and development of the city. Now therefore be it ordained, City Council finds its facts, recitals here and before set forth. The mayor and city clerk and each of them, for on behalf of the city, hereby authorized to execute an option purchase sales agreement attached here to as Exhibit A by and between the city and the developer concerning the property. The mayor and city clerk are also authorized and directed to execute covenants, restrictions, and conditions concerning the subject property, and those will go ahead and record. The development of the property obviously has to be within that zoning classification, but within those permitted areas in that zoning classification, since the city owns the property, we're recording our own covenants and restrictions that would restrict some of the uses that otherwise could be in a B4 zoning classification. Warehousing, things like that. I mean, I really think you're looking for something there that is retail and or hotel motel based. So that agreement provides you're giving them an option to purchase the property for $100 if they come back with a developer that's completely satisfactory to the city. So you'll have the approval
and authority to approve anything that's going in there as a condition preceding to the sale of the property.
Your Honor, I will make a motion that we accept the ordinance as written and read.
Do I have a second?
I'll second
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Is there anybody with anything to say about this?
I do,
Your Honor.
Can I ask the
Bob, you-
Economic Development Director if he has anything to say about it, or?
Council members are aware, we started a somewhat assertive marketing program last March, March of 15. We presented to approximately 20 different prospects. The prospect, Cantrell Morgan, we met with him 3 times. Once in May of 2016, October of 2016, and most recently, third week of May in 2016. And in fact, they expressed interest during the public services meeting. I was seated here, and they reached out and had an option proposal, a draft agreement, and they'd like to proceed. And then we discussed it at the Finance Committee meeting. That was a Tuesday meeting, as I recall, that same Tuesday, and I got it over to Councilor Schweikert, and I've talked to them. They're ready to go, and so that's what brings us to here to tonight, Tony.
I think it's important to note is, at least from our standpoint, we don't base any decisions on promises. You know, I think promises are one thing. What we really try to base our decisions on is when it's going to happen, and I think the covenants that we hold in this agreement with restricted use, meaning that the city has to approve the usage of that facility along when it's going to be developed. It's an important point to note that the city still owns the property until that happens. So it's kind of a two-way street, is we're not basing everything on a promise a developer came in and told us. We're looking for results with that, and as the results are fulfilled, then that property will be conveyed to them.
One other thing I should point out, it provides that, you know, until it's closed, they could go ahead and do any inspection reports, soil boring, survey. If you're talking an Alta survey on the property, soil borings, topographical of the property in a phase 1, you're probably talking at least $30,000, I would guess. Is that about right, Mike? And the agreement provides that any of those reports or any of those things that they do during their due diligence period will become the property of the city. Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk call the roll.
Alderman Plouffe.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Payton. Ballard.
Motion approved. Next, we have an ordinance annexing certain territory to the city. This is in the 2300 and 2400 blocks of Pulaski Street. So this would be on North Pulaski Street that comprises on the west side of Pulaski Street the Comcast or the old TV cable property, and on the right side the Mrowicki property. Both of those properties are completely surrounded by the present city corporate limits, and there's a statutory provision that provides that when property is completely surrounded by corporate limits, the city can involuntarily go ahead and proceed to annex that property to the city. The notices have been sent to everyone, and this will bring that property into the city, including the right-of-way of Pulaski Street. No, both the west and the east. On the west side is the original TV cable property that's now owned by Comcast. Across the street from that, Alderman, is the single-family residence. It's actually, part of the original Mrowicki homestead property.
That Comcast across the street part of it too, then?
Yes, yes, it's both sides. The Mrowicki on the east.
It's on the east side too. They used to do their video, their recordings over there.
Oh, yeah, well, I thought that was part of the Mrowicki, yes, that's part of this, too.
That little building.
Yeah, it also includes that building. I was just assuming that was part of Mrowicki's.
Zone residential then, or do we need a hearing for zoning, or do we need zoning?
Well, under the ordinance, when something next, it comes in at the highest classification, which would be, residential, R1, and then they can come in and rezone it. If they don't, it's just, continues, at least with respect to Comcast, as a non-conforming use. On the other property, it pretty well meets, the R1 classification, except for maybe some, setbacks, but, that would have to be, separately initiated for the zoning.
Then does Pulaski Street, is that ours now?
Well, no, because the original agreement with, Peru Township, the road will now be ours, yes. But the original agreement with, Peru Township provided that is the township's maintenance obligation, regardless of annexation, in perpetuity. So the financial obligation of the maintenance of that road would still be the township, but it would be, within the corporate limits of the city.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
I'll second it.
First ward.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. Is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Lukosius. Radke. Sapienza. Peyton. Ballard.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Next ordinance is the annual prevailing wage rate ordinance under, state statute. The city is to ascertain prevailing rate of wages as defined in the Prevailing Wage Act, pass an ordinance in June of each year, adopting the prevailing wages. Of course, the state, in its wisdom, says pass it in June, but they won't have those rates ready until sometime next month. Or we'll go ahead and pass it, because that's what it says. And then you have to publish it, Dave, on this. I would just publish it without the attachment, because it otherwise refers by reference to the rates as determined from time to time by the Illinois Department of Labor, so at least that'll save some publication expense.
When was the last time it was updated by the state? 2 years ago?
No, it is updated.
Oh, it is updated.
Yes, it is updated annually, but the June one won't be available until sometime the middle of next month, is what they told us.
Okay. Do we have a motion for this ordinance as written and read?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, anything further from the city attorney? Nothing? Unfinished business?
No, Your Honor.
Any unfinished business? Any new business? I'd like to,
Your Honor, I'd love to. So much traffic on Fulton, people are just not paying attention. So I'd like to see we couldn't do
do something there to slow that traffic down.
The alderman did talk to me, and I told him I would get with corporate counsel tomorrow to see if he can research to see if we can do that even, or if we for a short period of time and then repeal, or.
Yeah, you could certainly do that. In the meantime, just go ahead and put up the signs.
Okay, I'll get with Eric. I'd like to talk to him. He's back in the office Wednesday, so I'll definitely get up with Eric and then we'll move forward. Figure out what the recommendation is on how. Exactly.
Your Honor, another complaint that I've had from a number of residents in looking at this, I think they have a basis for it, is you're seeing a lot of cable TV wires and telephone wires where they're doing some type of maintenance and leaving the wires hanging from the poles. I mean, just coming across Main Street tonight, because I was looking for it, because somebody contacted me, there was 4 different poles where you've got wires hanging out into the streets and things of that nature. I know we had a phone pole that we waited for a long period of time to take down because it was dilapidated. Is there anything we can do, Jeff or Doug, from that standpoint of getting these responsible parties to take care of, I'd say, their mess that they're leaving or
We can call
not
them
completing?
and have a dialogue with them about it and tell them, the concerns that we have in the city, we most definitely can do that.
Yeah, because I see a lot of it, and they're not taking it, I know they're not doing it on a priority basis, but sometimes they're there for 3 or 4 weeks with wires hanging in roadways, wires hanging across sidewalks, and people are concerned about it.
Our Canadian Fulton has had one down for about 2 months.
Yeah, sure, and then there's one on Main and Peoria, and one to the west of that, but yeah, there's a number of things that, they're out of town, I know that, but they should still be responsible for taking care of those things.
All right. I believe that we need to start talking about our police station. It's an outdated facility. It's the largest unit in the city of Peru as far as population of employees. I haven't been able to find out how old the building is. I do know that it was remodeled in the late 60s. It was remodeled prior to 1970. If you go through the building, it's outdated. It's lived its useful life, and we need to start looking seriously on what a plan would be to do next. We've been very fiscally responsible and very conservative, and through our finance department, we have a source of funding for it, so we wouldn't be asking the taxpayers for any dollars. So I'd like to know everybody's thoughts on where to go next. For example, when we were looking at building a building for the IVRD out at the IVCC, because they were so gracious to donate us the land if we were going to build a building out there, IVRD, we hired an architect which was already working with IVCC, and the architect came in and they did the site evaluation and the program development, and just came in, they talked to everybody involved, they look at the situation, they look at the facility, and then start to bring in their suggestions to us. But I'd like to know some people's thoughts on the council here, and once again, with our conservative ways that we watch the taxpayers' dollars so closely, we do have the funding source. I'll say once again for the press that we won't be asking taxpayers for any extra dollars, but we need to do the facility. If you go in the facility, do a tour through it, it's badly in need of change. There's no doubt about it. We've outgrown it, and there's safety issues. We're still looking at single pane glass around the whole building, except for the safety glass that's in the entryway, the hallway, where the dispatchers are. But other than that, we have some issues now with plumbing. We have some issues with the roof. We have some issues that we're looking at that you won't be able to plan a building and build a building. Some of these are going to need to be addressed, but the building with that age, once again, I don't know what the age of the building is. Haven't been able to find out, but I do know it was a car dealer at one time. does anybody know how far back it goes? The county doesn't have any record of the building or when it was built, so I don't know how far back it goes. The county doesn't have any record, but,
Yes, I have been around that long. I do remember when it was a car dealership. And I took a tour through there about a month or so ago. And I'm pretty conservative, and I look at things to fix rather than build something new. And I don't think we can fix that. I don't think we can fix that.
I would like everybody to take the time and go through it, you know, contact the chief and go through the building and look at it. But I would also like you to give it some thought, and we can go out for RFP or whatever to do a site evaluation and program development, and that brings the professionals in, and they do the interviews with everybody involved at the site and start to tell us what we would do, you know, what we would need to do. And once again, site evaluation and program development. So, anybody's thoughts?
I don't see anything wrong with that, because, you know, with what you're suggesting there, because you're eventually gonna need to do something, so if you do all the homework up front, you know, that's not like that is, you know, work that is a waste. You know, you're gonna need to do something at some point.
Well,
You know, so to start that process, like you're saying, you're bringing in people to talk about what you need and develop a plan.
right,
I don't
right, and, you know,
see why we wouldn't do that.
I know everybody's heard me say, you know, there's a difference between a want and a need. This isn't a want, it's definitely a need over there. There's no doubt about it. And the proof's in the tour, you know, take a walk through it and see what's there. But anybody else?
And I'm sure Chief Burnaby's already been working on this, so maybe you can get together Ben and Jeremy and take them on a tour and show them, you know, get some pictures and do a nice article on it.
Anybody else? I mean, would you be all right? We'll have Eric put something together for an RFP and everybody take a look at it, and we'll decide, and we'll have a cost estimate on it and see where we go from there. Well, the RFP, you'll have your cost estimate there, but we can have Eric put something together and go out for it. The problem isn't going to get better. It needs to be addressed.
I think something for most people that just drive by, don't get a turn to stay in there for a while. It really looks good. I have to commend the police department for keeping the building looking good from the outside, but it's all a facade.
It's coming from a guy who spent a lot of time in the police
There you
station.
go.
But I think for the first part is you really, you need to put the program issues, and then you discuss the financial issues, the whereabouts, and all of those things after you work through with the program, but,
Right.
it'll be a long basis.
The program's gonna develop your cost estimate, and once you have that, then you can start making decisions.
Right.
But right now, we don't know what it's gonna cost, we don't have those details, so
Well,
start putting a program together and start planning is,
I
I agree, it's not.
I just didn't want to bring this up and put it on the floor and cause any alarm with any of the Peru citizens that, you know, we're out there spending money, which we are talking about an expense of dollars, but I'm also saying that due to our fiscal responsibility and our conservative ways and the wonderful job that Justin's doing, we know we have a source. So without any extra tax dollars, so if it's all right with everybody, then, you know, there's no vote to be taken on this, but we'll have Eric, Eric's been gone on vacation for 2 days and actually a day and a half, and we need him back. Anyways, we'll have Eric put something together, everybody will take a look at it.
I was just gonna say, in terms of analysis, maybe get some towns, to compare, you know, capabilities, size, per square foot, per officer, cars, and then the newness of the building, and then compare it to ours, you know, 10,000 population city. What are some of the nicer cities and financially capable cities doing with their police department, and kind of compare that to ours and say, well, ours is equal to theirs, ours is way worse, ours is,
Right.
you know,
Well, that'll be part of their job. I've been in contact with quite a few other cities, and I've went through their police departments. I know what they've spent. They kind of look like what you would probably need, but I'm not the professional in that. We're at the point, and as long as the council's okay with it, we're at the point to put together an RFP and put out the RFP and go from there. And, you know, it'll be a process, but you need to do it right, because it'll be an expense, but we need to do it right. And like I said, it's the largest body, you know, single body of the city, and it's our public safety, so.
And just growth of population, and as, you know,
Well,
development goes forward, obviously, we need
Well,
to improve those things.
our town's a little unique with, you know, it's a residency of 10,000 people, but it's like a town of 50,000 plus with everything that we have, and we have the interstate going through, and it's busy department, very, very busy, and they do a wonderful job, and we've outgrown it. That's my opinion. Maybe the professionals tell us we're fine for another 50 years, so I don't know. I doubt it, but we'll find out. Trying to be optimistic, but we'll see. So we'll put something together, we'll let the council review it, and we'll see if we'll go out for RFPs on it. Anything else in new business? Okay, petitions, communication?
Yes, Your Honor, I have 5 of them this evening. First is from Weiss, requesting a variance and waivers for the property located at 3670 Cougar Drive.
Okay, we have a motion to receive the communication, place on file, and turn it over to planning zoning for review and a recommendation.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Have a roll call real quick. Well, no, we'll just, we're fine. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
The next is a letter from the Village of Naplate expressing their gratitude for the city's efforts on the February 28th tornado. On February 28th, the Village of Naplate was struck by a severe storm which escalated rapidly into an F3 tornado which swept through the village and nearby Ottawa area. Widespread power outages were experienced and more than 25% of the homes in the village sustained moderate or severe damage, many of which are now uninhabitable. The damage to homes, public buildings, workplaces, and places of worship has been overwhelming. The Village of Naplate began with the turn of the century with the expansion of the glass and sand industries. Incorporated in 1947, the village has a current population of approximately 480. Naplate is a tight-knit community, one that is immensely proud of the supportive nature of its residents. The village has a rich history of civic engagement and is sustained by dedicated volunteers, including those who serve as part of the village board and Naplate Board of Fire Department. Throughout the past several months, Naplate residents have risen to the challenge for a cleanup with awesome strength, drawing hope from one another and volunteers like you. Your generous support has made the unimaginable a little bit more manageable. Please know that all of the contribution is so deeply appreciated by the members of this community, from fresh meals, hot coffee, clean water donations, to help clearing debris, providing therapy, dogs for comfort. Your work has reminded our village of the grace and humanity of the people during this trying time. Thank you for all you have done to repair our homes, heal our hearts as we begin a road to recovery. The spirit of volunteerism is strong in Naplate and has been reaffirmed by the actions of charitable people like yourself. The city of Naplate greatly appreciates your support.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we accept the communication as written and read and place it on file.
Second.
Who was the second from? Okay, we have a motion and a second to receive the communication from the Village of Naplate and place on file. Is there any discussion? I know Alderman Radke, you lived that day. You were in Naplate.
I did live.
Yeah, and you did, right. Your vehicle did not.
My vehicle did not survive.
Did it roll across the parking lot to make it look the way it looked?
No, something hit it.
Something
Something to be able to hit it, and it wasn't there. Whatever hit it was gone, so.
He did so good that night he got promotion.
Hit and run.
What's that? It still ran. It drove the day.
What was amazing to me is there was one power pole that had a 1-inch conduit running up for whatever, and the conduit was wrapped around it. It looked like a grapevine or whatever wrapped around it. It was unbelievable. You know, a piece of 1-inch conduit perfectly wrapped around the pole.
I hope we never see that again, but it's just leveled, and then literally a house right next to it is nothing wrong. You know, I think,
Right.
you always hear about that, but it's,
Right,
It's a credit also to our services, how quickly they got there to lend their assistance. You know, from our public services to fire department, police department, you know, I really want to applaud their efforts because, they got right on it without even being told to do anything.
the mutual aid is extremely impressive, because in a matter of a couple of hours, how it was extremely organized, what was going on in the village, you know. I think I walked home about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was fairly organized at that point, and it's on at 5 o'clock, you know. So by 1.
So we appreciate that from the village in Naplate, and our hearts still go out to them, and thank you for the communication. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Okay, the next communication is from our new rec director, Seth Brannon. He's requesting permission to close 13th Street between West and Putnam between 8:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. for the archery camp, July the 10th through the 14th. He'd like to set up his equipment on July the 9th and then leave it up for the duration of the camp. So he'd like to close the street for the block. It takes, he says it takes about 3.5 hours to set up the equipment that he has, and is looking for permission to do that. That's what he's asking. I think it's 5 days, Monday through Friday. And maybe just one part of the street, not the entire block. Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, receive communication, place on file, and discussion with Chief King, and make sure we have a safety lane open. So
moved.
do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried.
Next communication is from Nick Schaefer, requesting permission to hold a wedding ceremony at Baker Lake on the 23rd. There are no conflicts.
Okay, we have a motion to grant Mr. Schaefer permission to have his wedding at Baker Lake on July 23rd.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good luck, Mr. Schaefer.
And we have yet another request for a wedding ceremony at Baker Lake on October the 27th.
Same thing. Do we have a motion to receive, place on file, and grant permission for Ms. Chavez?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second for another wedding on October 27th at Baker Lake. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
So you're not wishing...
No, I wish the best of luck to all of them for weather and for the rest of their life. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Anybody? No closed session. Motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn?
Tony.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.